Welcome, Flesh and Blood players. Thank you for all of the deck heads returning to check out the newest episode of Cast a Commotion. It's been a long time since I've put out a podcast episode. I just have been caught up with a lot of stress at work, etc. The same old things you hear from anybody who's taken a small break. I have just watched through all of Worlds. This is pretty late into this season for me to be talking about Worlds. I'm sure all of you have seen many news outlets and all that talking about it. I just want to give my own rundown of it. So let's go ahead and we're just going to bring up that little document. I wanted to go down a Worlds breakdown of just like what I thought, what I saw, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the meta after and the impact of Worlds. All that more, and Jesus Christ, it's been so long. Long break between the last episode of Cast a Commotion, but I just feel like if you're going to listen to a podcast, it needs to have some kind of value, and I just didn't have anything to add to the conversations that were happening. I'm going to try to power through that and just add what I can to the conversations, just add my own spins and takes. What I saw, what were the matchups, what were some notes that I could take? Did I notice anything specific about the decks? And what I think the impact will be following Worlds this time on Cast a Commotion. So this is the Worlds breakdown episode. I'm just going to go over some of the matches. I'm only going to go over, I think, the top 8 here. And I just want to dive right into it because this could take a while. It could not. I might ramble. I don't know. Let's go. The first match I'm looking at is Rob Catton from the UK on Aurora, 13-2 through Swiss on first seed, versus Grigorsh. So I'm going to say that name. I had it on mute. I was just kind of watching the gameplay, so I did not hear the pronunciation of the name. Grigorz Kowalski. I'm going to give that a shot. From Poland, on Count Your Blessings Enigma, 11-4, 8th seed. It's no spoiler to anybody what happened here. This is, I think 8th seed is undefeated in Worlds. If I remember right, I think Worlds is 8th seed territory. So the tradition continues with this one. Rob didn't have the Aether Ironweave or the Crown of Dominion to pair with Flicker Wisp and Arc Lightning are the only things that I saw in that matchup. I found that fairly interesting, going for more of the defensive package, I think. Not as aggressive for some reason. I don't quite understand. That does mean that the Aurora was more face-up value oriented, presenting just very honest damage and just trying to push through as much real value as they could, trying to push through, which I love. I love that style of play. It's what I liked about Fi. It's what I like about the Mechanologist that I play. Rob had Coax a Commotion in the deck, which clearly I'm a fan of. It's like one of my favorite cards. It's evident in the naming of this podcast. I am a huge fan of that addition to Aurora. I believe that Embodiment of Lightning turns that card into an unbelievable threat. The on-hit draw, the on-hit quicken token that you're going to utilize much better than most of your other opponents. It's just Briar 2.0 in my mind. You just get that Embodiment of Lightning and you throw that Coax a Commotion out. Exude Confidence, also making a big splash in many of the Aurora decks that I've seen. I am so goddamn happy to see that card see its light, just shining through the darkness of the Monarch set, right? Exude has been on my radar for a very long time. It's just got such a powerful upside, and running into all of these instant heavy metas, fantastic. All of these very fatiguey metas that rely on defense reactions, fantastic. It's pumpable. You can dump some lightning cards into it to keep your channel the Lightning Valley around. It's just a versatile piece. Those two are incredible inclusions to this deck. Erased Face is also added, probably to deal with the aggro matches, just try to keep those going along. We're going to go over this next section. I'm going to leave that out for now. But yeah, you use the Embodiment of Lightnings and the Coax Commotions to really balance out that game and rush forward. It unfortunately was not enough. If I remember right, I think Grigorsh's life was 4 by the end of it, but it just proved to be too much. And then unfortunately, if Enigma does hit that fatigue state, every single card in their hand is worth 2 to 3 value, depending on the exact curve. But the point is, the falling Starfall Starfall is not good enough to finish the game on its own. Even Starfall plus the Grasp of the Arcanite is not enough to close out that game. That's just something for you guys to know if you're running into Aurora and you're very excited about her and you're looking to build her coming up in the next seasons. We've got a few pro quests and I believe some skirmish action coming up. So just be aware, if you're building Aurora, it's not going to be enough to end the game. You need to start thinking about strategies around Count Your Blessings. We'll talk about that later. Reaping Blade might be a requirement in this matchup. I did notice that if I remember right, Rob did not have the Reaping Blade in the deck, and I think it would have made a world of difference. It would have made Grigorsh play his game, but that just wasn't the reality here. Vambraces are also a good addition, possibly. I know that the extra value off the Rune Chant is very good, but in some scenarios, I saw some inefficient attacks go through to pop. I think it was the Mirror guy, and it just would have been better if you could have just Vambrace that dude out of existence. So that's something to think about if you're moving into Aurora. We're just going to blaze through these, I think. They're going to go a little faster than I thought, and we're going to get into my meta talks a little bit faster than I thought. That's a good thing, because I'm going to be real with you. If you're going to rewatch these games and rewatch the cap, skip Grigorsh's games. Congratulations, Grigorsh Kowalski. Congratulations for taking Worlds down for Poland, showing us what you really got. Don't ever do it again. I hated watching your games. It's not that I don't like Fatigue. I won one of my first bigger events on Oldham. I like Fatigue. Count Your Blessings. Insert splash art of start at full. Every card counts. Do not reward luck or whatever, right? Actually, Count Your Blessings probably rewards good gameplay, not luck, because you do have to block properly throughout the rest of the game, stack correctly, make sure you don't clump, etc. But start at full, Count Your Blessings does not. That game only drags for no reason. I don't know the time on this one, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Congratulations. Celebrate every bit of your day. I'm so happy for you. You deserve your win. So game 2, we're looking at Alan Lau out of Hong Kong on Dash.io. I think it was 12-3. I may have misrecorded that. Not quite sure. 4th seed. Running up against Noah Bagelman, coming in at 5th seed with Viserai. Always excited to see Viserai come out of the shadows and really, really show us what Rune Blades are at their core meant to do. Very powerful hero effect that can be abused very, very well. Some of the new cards definitely enable that a little bit more. And if I remember right, this is more of a toolbox package. Alan is only running the single heist. I believe 2 or 3 would have been the better play. They allow you to get some really aggressive turns out, but I guess that it costs a little bit more. Might not have been in favor for Alan's play lines or patterns. Maybe he doesn't like the more expensive attacks. Not sure what that's about. Super hot on BIOS update. I don't like that card as much, but I get why it's in there. It can cause a spike turn and is more in line with the philosophy that I just said. A little bit of a cheaper attack, a little bit of a pump, possibly still get the value out of the Banish Zone that Heist does, but it's not an attack, which I don't like as much, right? But that's fine. I'm not in Worlds. He is. I'm the one that needs to learn here. If you boost out a Teklo core or a Cerebellum processor, that is just high spike turns. I would prefer Rainbow T-Bones. I didn't see that in there, but I'm more afraid of ninjas than he is, apparently. As far as we're talking with Noah Bagelman, I noted that Runeblood Barrier is an include, and there was a few other cards that made it look like a toolbox deck. Has Warmongers, which I found to be super odd, but that's okay. I prefer Nebula Blade on Viserai, but I'm not in Worlds again. I didn't take Viserai to Worlds. I'm probably not the person to talk about that. But, Reaping Blade is a good piece. It as I just spoke about earlier with Aurora, it might be the piece because just Count Your Blessings is just a menace. Start at full. Blessing of Occult, and I didn't think I saw any Runeblood incantations in there. That was super weird to me, but it looks like they're trying to more end chains with Blessing of the Occults, or give them a more favorable option for turns where they warmongers or get warmongered, you know? I didn't even see if it was that effective in this game, and it only blocks for 2 if I remember right. I'm not a big fan of Blessing of Occult, but, you know, again, Noah knows more than I do about Viscerai. Inclusions of Reduced to Rune Chant, it just became apparent that we were looking for massive Ninth Blade turns, massive attack turns, not such wide attacks. And that's why I specifically would prefer the Nebula Blade in this situation, because it's a heavy hitter that can add about 5 value if done correctly. But I don't know. The way this one played out, I think Alan Lau. Sorry, I had to think about that. Alan Lau took this one, knocking Viscerai out. The race was just a little bit too fast for the Viscerai. If I remember right, man, there were some big Ninth Blade turns that just turned over and over, and it really looked like it was going to be Viscerai taking this one. It just didn't work out that way. So congratulations to Alan Lau on pushing through into the quarterfinals. The next game we're going to talk about is Michael Hamilton. Go, Michael, go. Glad to see you right back in Worlds. And Sam Sutherland, a very popular new player out of Australia. That is new on Count Your Blessings. Fairly disappointed to see that versus Dash.io. I don't like Count Your Blessings, but we all know Michael Hamilton plays the deck that pushes numbers. And if that's what he landed on, then that's what's got to be happening. He runs unconventional lists that are just meant to outvalue the opponent. His list is just about the fatigue, banish, and disruption while getting those Count Your Blessing turns out. Buy a lot of time and banish all the cards out of their deck. It's fine, right? Sam Sutherland is not running BIOS updates, instead opting for the system reset plan. I think that's because of the fatigue thing. I personally, if I were looking to run that deck, again, I'm not in World, so this deck is probably just better. Plasma mainlines are very good, but I guess system resets probably fill that same role. It's just interesting to see. They're also Sam's also running the Optical Monocle. Sculpts the top of the deck really well on those big boost turns. That's a really unique take, and I love it. I'm here for it. But at the end of the game, it looked. I think I saw High Octanes get banished. I think Bonds of Agony hit system reset, and it became pretty clear that Michael was about to win until on the final turn we saw Teclacore putting the resources out, a High Octane industry power plant, and then it was just boost, baby boost, sculpt the deck with the Cerebellum processor and the boosting, rip the max velocity, and finish up the game. It was incredible to watch. Sam Sutherland broke down in a fantastic emotional display. Do watch this game. It's quicker than most of the other games. Very high skill cap game, very heavy decisions, and an unbelievable moment with some reactions. So super great game. 10 out of 10. Watch that one. Michael Hamilton, world-class sportsmanship being showed there. If you're going to watch a World game, watch that one for sure. Next up, we have Mercy Bickle out of the United States with Aurora, second seed. Don't have the record recorded, I don't remember, but she did pretty well. Valentin Mackel out of Austria, 8th seed. Not 8th seed, what the hell? Can't be 2 8th seeds. I must have recorded this wrong. Valentin Mackel out of Austria, Enigma. No Count Your Blessings. This is the much more aggressive build. The Aurora was pretty standard built, huge load of equipment, nothing super crazy, but very by the numbers. I don't think they were running the Cokes of Commotions, which I really do like that card. I think that should be in that deck. But ran a few more equipment than the other for the option to play a little bit more aggressively, though I think in both, maybe all 3 matches, it was Aether Ironweave and Crown of Dominion were chosen for the Arc Lightning turns. But in the Enigma deck, we saw 10,000 Year Reunions, Command and Conquers, Phantasmaclasms, lots of power, looking for a lot of value, looking for hand sculpting. It's a great match to watch. This is another one you should watch. Well thought out Exude Confidences. It just opens up the line for tons of damage, and they come out at some of the worst times and exemplifies why Embodiment of Lightning is so powerful. Like I said, the Arc Lightning, Aetherweave, Iron Turn into a gold, draw a card. You just pounds out a bunch of damage. Somersaulting Enlightened Strike is disgusting. That's gross. That's just gross. Very, very good game. No complaints here. If this is what the meta was, the game would be on fire right now. We follow up with Alan Lau and Grigorz Kowalski. I'm not even going to cover it. It's a Grigorz game. Dude, it's just too long. It's too long of a game. Not enough happens. There's not enough interaction. It's just not that great of a game. That's just what that deck does. The hand gets extended on Dash.io, drawing a last hand with no way of boosting. So we move on to Mercy Bickle and Sam Sutherland from Australia. That's Aurora versus Dash.io. Sam brings in more armor, I feel like, than last time. Is a little more conservative. Moved to more of a slow game plan, looking for the setup, which, lots of blocks, but Mercy dropped. I think there was one Lightning Valley turn where it was like Ravenous Rabble, Ravenous Rabble, Ravenous Rabble, pitch a card for the embodiment of lightning, keep the channel. It was gross. I'm not going to say it was a perfect high roll, but there were some spikes. There were multiple spikes on Mercy's turns. And God fucking damn it. It's so I have nothing against Grigorz, but that finals game is an hour and a fucking half. That finals game is an hour and a fucking half of just... You can go to a movie. You can play a game of anything, any esport. You can do anything that would give you more fun in your time. This was just not worth a watch. Mercy, honestly, you deserve better than that. That was... you deserve to go out like a fighter, not with the whimpers of Count Your Blessings fatigue. Death by boredom. That's really what it ends up being. I do believe Mercy makes a few misplays in this, but they wouldn't have been enough to cover the life gap that occurred from starting at full. It does look like, if I remember right, there was some arcane damage that was missed on the Flicker Wisp and Arc Lightning triggers. Just if you're going to be playing that deck, make sure to remember every word that says go again does the damage. I remember the judges tried to stop and see if they could do anything about it, but it just didn't end up happening. There was a turn where she played 2 Flicker Wisps, I think. I think that was a mistake. I think saving the other one to pressure more damage on the next turn would have gotten more efficacy out of the Flicker Wisp. I'm not in Worlds. I can't coach. I can't give out. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion, man. I absolutely doesn't. I just stroked out there. I absolutely did not like that game. We're gonna get to this card right here. You see this shit right here? This shit exactly right here. Okay. God, is that 39? Is that 39? Is that 39 fucking life that you gain out of Count Your Blessings full stack if it goes perfectly and you go from blue to red late game? It often probably won't come to that. It probably won't happen, but Jesus Christ, that is just brutal, man. I absolutely cannot stand that. We just had this huge talk about... I just cannot stand that we just had this huge talk about start at full, your decisions matter. I guess technically you could probably play around with this card in many ways with the current understanding, but there is a lot that I saw that could have been done a lot better. So let's go ahead and go over some of my thoughts on this card. Does Count Your Blessings deserve a ban? No. You need to learn how to play around cards and beat them. There are cards available in this meta. There are heroes available in this meta. Nobody likes to hear that. Nobody goes I want to play my favorite hero. Well, if you want to get around certain cards and you want to get around the current line of meta and you want to be competitive, you have to be competitive. You have to fucking throw off the gloves, shake it off, go take a rest, think about it, and then attack with a different strategy next time, okay? So, how do you play around Count Your Blessings? It is very simple. It is going to be Runeblade is going to be, I think, the best chance you have at beating Count Your Blessings. Runeblades have a very unique answer to Count Your Blessings, specifically because it has a lot of ways to play out of the banish. Why does this matter? Talisman of Creation exists in this game, and a lot of the newer players are not going to know about that card because Everfest is where that card is from, and that is a long time ago, okay? Everfest was a long time ago. But Talisman of Creation is a card that I will put on screen right here. It is if you play a card from your banish zone. It is when you play a card from your banish zone. Talisman of Creation is an item with Go Again. That's a direct inline card with Aurora anyway. And it says whenever you play a card from your banish zone, destroy the Talisman of Creation. Name a card, banish all cards with that name from the opponent's graveyard. Okay. How does this help? How do I get cards into my banish zone? Well, you're a goddamn Runeblade. Use Rattlebones, right? You're going to be setting up Talisman of Creations on a few turns. Maybe your Arc Lightning turns, right? Because it has Go Again. Maybe you Flicker Wisp. It may not be the coolest shit on the planet, but it's a blue pitch card that can do this. You can put that into play, and it puts your opponent on notice that you have an answer available. When you play things like Rattlebones, you can play things out of your banish. You just play your game like normal. You just set up that turn. Or maybe you just have a subpar turn and you end the turn with Talisman of Creation. I don't really care how it happens, right? But instead of the gold token, you can go ahead and swap out for Crown of Providence or something to cycle through your deck a little bit better to find this and get these combos available. And then on the turn where you have the Arc Lightning Flicker Wisp, instead of draw a card, right? Instead of draw a card, it is Aether Iron Weave, go through your attacks, Aether Iron Weave for the Go Again, get the Flicker Wisp damage, Rattlebones. Close the chain, put all those attacks in there. Rattlebone's the best attack out of there again. Okay, so now you've played it. Now they have to decide if they're going to pop all of their Count Your Blessings right now and gain whatever life they can. Put more of them in the graveyard so you can pop your Talisman of Cremation, right? Well, it's going to pop anyway, but they just have to choose right there on the layer. Do they waste them now or do they get less value out of them later? Talisman of Creation may not be the best option. I'm just saying it's time to experiment. We're post-Worlds. It's time to get the meta working, okay? Also, you get the extra action point from the instant you probably get from a Flicker Wisp turn and using Rattlebones. Okay, just something to think about. Vincent gets the unique ability to use Talisman of Creation without all of that setup. Yes, she could still run Rattlebones, but you get two cards. You get the Talisman of Creation. Or Cremation, sorry, the Talisman of Cremation, which you'll just have in play, and then because you're just naturally playing it, you will have to do some setup, like you might arsenal the Talisman of Cremation, and then once you see a few, 3 or 4, maybe 2 or 3, maybe, Count Your Blessings in the graveyard, you play it from arsenal, and then on your turn play your Rune-gated card, and you'll just have a consistent answer for that. On top of that, Vincent is a Shadow Runeblade. That gives her access to Invert Existence. A card from Monarch, Majestic, banish 2 cards from an opponent's graveyard. That's it. If they're an attack action and a non-attack action, you deal some damage to them. That's not why you're doing this, though. You just have extra blue pitch access to banishing an opponent's graveyard. Shadow Brutes also have a unique way of being able to... Most of the Shadow heroes will be able to use Talisman of Cremation pretty well. On your big turn with Leviathan, if they're looking to threaten to gain life, you play it out of Arsenal, and hopefully you can still play something out of your graveyard, right? Or you're not your graveyard, your Banish Zone. You ebb and fold something, the Shadow Peed, whatever the hell you need to do. Leviathan can also do this. Fi might be on people's radars now. Draconic Ninjas are coming up in The Hunted. Okay. And uniquely, all of these ninjas have the ability to, I could just say ninjas, not just Fi, to banish. It's just that the Draconics have a lot of on-hit, banish a card from your hand, play it from Banish Zone. Zen also does this, etc. There's a lot of ways to do this. Okay. So just make sure if you're a ninja, look at Talisman of Cremation. There's a good chance you'll be able to somehow trigger it and be off to the races, banish and count your blessings as well. Dorinthia can also do this. Play a card from her banish, right? Singing Steelblade. Yeah, Singing Steelblade banishes the card. You can play it from banish, all that kind of stuff. There's a few other warrior attack reacts that do this exact same thing. Can also do Talisman of Creation. On top of that, you could just run certain other attacks. Every Mystic hero has Pass Over one time. It may not be the most effective use of that card, but it's a possibility and it's something you can do. But we get to the primary antagonist to this strategy, which I believe is new. Okay. Mystic Assassin, all of the new stealth cards like Bonds of Memory, Bonds of Attraction. Like I said, and Undercurrent Desires also can just like banish 2 cards. Assumptively, the blue Count Your Blessings, maybe something different. But new is uniquely designed to take care of this problem in threatening all these on hits. Yeah, you can block inefficiently, but if I get this card over, I'm going to take away some of your Count Your Blessings while getting life back of my own and perpetuating a different kind of fatigue game. This is why I didn't think Count Your Blessings was that good of a choice for Michael Hamilton. Obviously, he made it to top 8 of Worlds. Very, very good deck. Very, very good player. But I believe if focused a little more on taking away the opponent's agency on the Count Your Blessings plan. But that's not how it played out. I don't know. I'm not a professional. I want to be a professional, but I haven't quite made it there yet. I didn't get to go to the last Pro Tour, so maybe next time. And if all else fails, you have some generic cards other than Talisman of Creation that does this. Gravekeeping. I do run it in my new deck. I initially put it in there for what I thought was going to be the Rise of Phi coming in the next set, and I was just testing that out. But yeah, there's Rainbow Gravekeepings out there. 1 for 5, banish one of the Count Your Blessings. Maybe the yellow ones as well, because they are 1 for 4 good chain enders that take away Count Your Blessings. These might be considerations and options for you. I just want you to know that in this ever-evolving meta, deck building. My deck heads, I need you to deck build. I need you to look at all of the cards and consider what stops this. What stops this? All right. So my look to the forward is Runeblade, I believe, is going to have a huge portion of this meta. Obviously, because of that, Azalea is going to probably flank up that A tier list because she can just shit on all the Runeblades. Anybody who can run Warmonger's Diplomacy effectively will be A to B tier, depending on how efficable they are against the Count Your Blessings list. I do believe New, Enigma, and Aurora are the top of the crop, right? That is the triangle. That is the New is kind of like the setup. The Aurora is the aggro. Enigma is the control. Okay. I don't know how far Count Your Blessings makes it. It just seems to break all those rules they just told us they were trying to get in place. But I don't like banning cards, so as opposed to saying blah, 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 ban it, I am going to instead ask, let's learn how to play with it. Okay, let's learn how to play with that card and see if we can break it, see if we can crack that deck and just have people say, you know what, it's not all that. We need to move on. Or if it does end up becoming a problem, LSS has shown that they are not afraid to ban anything. With that said, I want you guys to check out anything you see on this channel, socials-wise, Twitter, Facebook, anything like that. Go ahead and check me out on eBay and TCG Player. Crash Command Games is the store that I sell Flesh and Blood through primarily now. I don't think I have much Magic product left on there, but I periodically upload what I buy. Obviously, subscribe, like. Tell me what you think about Count Your Blessings. Are you on board with me? Did you think those games were the most boring shit on the planet? Make sure to check out my Patreon. I am so happy that I'm getting any kind of traction anywhere. The more subscribers, the better. It makes me feel good. It makes me more motivated. What made me feel bad about that 2-week hiatus was I got some more subscribers, and I was like, well, shit, they just subscribed to my dead period. Guys, thank you so much for listening to Cast a Commotion. This was a podcast of not so much complaining, but of inspiration and motivation. This one is Zero.